Bopping along. Hey, folks, I don't know if you notice this, but people bop to the drums and bass, not the guitar, not the saxophone or the kazoo or the zither or the harmonica or the paper and comb. It's drums and bass, drums and bass. And I'm Dan here with Jeff on Rhythm and Lows. And that's what we love to talk about is really outstanding bass and drums teams and what makes them special. Right, Jeff?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks for having me. Hi, everybody. Yeah, what makes any drummer and bass player special is the indefinable reality that they never could predict until they played together. There's no reason
Right.
for it.
Right. That the organic magic. I
The
like to
organic
refer to.
magic. You
Yeah.
play with somebody and be okay. You play with somebody and be great. You play with somebody and be Ginger and Jack.
Yeah.
uh, that's sort of the vibe. Jocko, when he was a kid, played with what was his name? I see his name. Well, I know he played. What was his name? What was the name of the drummer that played on his record?
It wasn't Peter, was it?
Not Peter. He
No.
sounded great with Peter, but there was a guy from his town who.
Oh, I don't remember. I know who you
Somebody
mean,
help
though.
me out. Look it up
Yeah.
and tell Dan.
Someone look it up. I'll watch for comments. And folks, if you have a favorite drums and bass team, whether it's Geddy and Neil or John Paul Jones and John Bonham or Bill Bruford and Jeff Berlin, they are, whoever your favorites are, or someone you want to give a shout out to, let us know. Maybe we'll do a whole show on them, and that'll be fun. But what we do is Jeff and I each bring a bass and drums team and show a clip, and we talk about what resonates with us as musicians as the root of the rhythm section. And like always, Jeff, why don't you go first and tell us who you got and what it's all about?
Well, I got someone that I've admired for years. I loved him before I met him. His name is Mike Clark. He became known to all of us through his association with Herbie Hancock. He played in Thrust, is a record by Herbie. Thrust, and it might be possibly the preeminent to this day jazz improvised funky live recording in maybe almost music history.
Wow.
Mike played with a bass player named Paul Jackson, who they grew up together. And that's sort of the thing, the organic, non-predictable thing that came by being with each other. They didn't know they were going to partner up in such a specific way. But what I found literally is a clip of bass and drums and nothing else. And the timing and is so remarkable and interactive, as I believe all music should be. So I presented it as an example this week.
That's cool. Check this out, folks. It's a short clip. We may even show it twice in a row. Check it out. Actually, we'll show it, and then Jeff will point out a few things to watch and listen for, and we'll show it again. So here's your first pass. We'll do that. Wow. Well, I have something I'd like to point out, if I may. Folks, watch those rolls that Mike was doing from the tom to the snare and that end with 2 or 3 bass drum floaters. It's watch for that. That was so cool and tight, and the timing was perfect on those. Yeah. What year was that, do you think, Jeff?
Say again.
Do you know what year that was?
No, but I would say it's probably after their time with Herbie.
Yeah.
So whenever Herbie's thing came out, middle 70s, might it be? And well, just as a performance, there's a couple of, I would say, 10-second super simple explanations for their remarkable interaction. I'll begin with the obvious one, at least obvious in the way I'm thinking about it. They hear the quarter note the same. That's it.
Yeah.
As I've said 10 billion times, much to the annoyance of people that follow me or listen, it ain't about a metronome. Time is internal. And that's what I was curious that how people might feel about that statement once they see one of the highest level performances of two people. Now you listen to a lot of Paul's bass playing. Now, the reason that works is because Mike was playing, I would say, well, let's call this a quarter note, 16th notes. And what happens is the 16th note full bar presentation is accomplished. What Paul did was play upbeats, downbeats, silences, rests, and certain things which lend itself to the funk. But the entirety of this performance is an expression or demonstration, I might say, of two guys that know what the quarter note is supposed to be and organically discovered it together. Mike Clark is, I think, a guy that preceded Garibaldi. But if you hear this particular thing, Garibaldi was in Tower. I think they grew up around the same time, same place.
Yeah.
But it kind of always occurred to me that Mike was the guy that defined this style even before David did. But maybe a Tower of Power aficionado, knowing the history of him, of Tower of Power, and of Mike Clark, can inform me. But that's what people heard. You're going to play it again for 2 seconds?
Yeah.
Just listen that the drums are always in the 16th note, just separating by hat or tom or bass drum.
Right.
And that the bass agrees with that and pops notes in and out as he feels it. But the quarter note is intact and they agree on it. And that's why they sound the way they do.
Yeah. And Paul is playing like a lot of pickup notes. Instead of just on the beat, he's playing a lot of like lead up notes that give it that funky feel as well.
Tell me what you mean by pickup notes.
Exactly your description, not necessarily playing just on the downbeat, but leading up to the downbeat with eighth notes. Yeah.
He didn't play the downbeat. That's what he mostly didn't do.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct. Yeah, I see what you're saying. His thing is, which was handled by Mike, and he played bop, 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 which even doesn't play the three.
And that makes it the conversation.
I beg your pardon?
I think that makes it the conversation that they're having too.
Oh, very true.
Yeah. Check this out, folks. It's one of those things that's just way too short. It's so good. You want more, you know? So very cool. That's a great one to bring to the show, Jeff. Thanks for that.
With pleasure. And if people will do themselves an absolute favor, go get the Herbie Hancock record called Thrust. Listen to the tune called Actual Proof. And notice simply how it is subdivided, because I haven't seen the chart. I learned it by ear and performed it with Scott Henderson and Dennis Chambers. We recorded it and we played it. But I'm told that whole song, as the way it sounds, the whole song is in 4/4.
Interesting. I love that.
Check that out. Thrust, Herbie Hancock, Actual Proof.
Cool.
The funkiest tune in fusion history.
Yeah. So I have two clips. The thing about using the platform we're using is that I can't skip through the clips. And I want to just to save some time, but both the clips I'm going to show are from the same band. They're out of Wales. I found them, maybe it's been about 4 years ago now, something like that. They're called the Kinky Wizards, wizards with two Z's, that kind of wizardry. And they're just a great band. Jiffy Griffiths on drums, his brother Miffy Griffiths on bass, and Ryan Elliott on guitar. It's a three-piece instrumental band, and they play a lot of different styles, but all their styles sound like them. There's some really cool, like there's a jazz song, but it sounds like the band that you're going to see that's not playing straight jazz. There's a reggae song, and they sound like this same band that I'm going to show that's not playing reggae. So I'm going to let these videos go for a bit so that you could at least get a feel, no pun intended, for their changes throughout these clips that are between 2 and 4 minutes long. So hang back, folks. They also did a private concert for our Drum Talk TV Brilliance membership site about a year or so ago, and were just phenomenal. And what you're going to see is them playing live. They're not miming to a recording. They played this live during COVID in a beautiful soundstage. And one of my favorite things about it isn't just the music, but how much fun they're having doing it, which is why we should all be taking up music to begin with and keep it fun. So here we go. This first song is an excerpt of Thunder. So there's one example, and we get a little funk, we get a little bit of just really tasteful, straightforward playing. You know, it doesn't, not everything has to be over fancified to be tasteful, of course. Ask Nick Mason of Pink Floyd. But I just love their sound, and that's just uh, Jonathan and Matthew. That's Jiffy and Miffy Griffiths brothers. And the next video will have Brian on guitar. But Jeff, what do you think of that?
Well, it sounds pretty much typical of the times. I mean, they were playing in 4/4. That's what most bass players and drummers do. They were playing in one key. That's what most bass players and drummers do. They were playing slap. That's what most bass players and drummers do. So in the sort of overview, the critical overview, and also at the beginning, I mean, for a fair amount of time, they weren't together. Now, the only reason I point that out is because metronome aficionados who are watching this instantly caught that. Now, I'll defend the position of two guys jumping in, as you said, music for the passion, you know what I mean? And that type of thing. So in that regard, I think if they put a click on it or something, it would have lost, I think, the flavor that you personally caught
Yeah.
it, you know? So, but what I heard is essentially what most guys do. So the reason I'll compare it, it's not like one's better or one's worse. It's that by asking what I thought, I didn't, it was okay. The reason I pointed to the Mike Clark element is the variety and originality of both bass and drums.
Yeah.
You won't find a bass player for just about anywhere like sounded like Paul. And that particularly remarkable subdivision of Mike's, at least at that particular time, was utterly unknown. So forgive me, I don't mean to whatever. Jerry Lewis. It was okay.
Yeah. I tend to look at music completely from a non-technical standpoint.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking about technique at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I look or listen to music from what do I like and what are my sensibilities. And often when I put on a new record, or I hear, yes, boys and girls, I said put on a record, or I hear a recording or something, one of the first things that draws my attention is I'm analyzing the production, like even more than the playing. Like, of course, I'm hearing the song and, you know, is this doing it for me? But I'm really a production sort of maniac. And I love listening to sounds and what makes someone sound the way they do, or combination of players and different things like that. My intention, and I wasn't prepared, was, and maybe I'll do this for the next show, is to put like a 15-20 second each montage together of 5 completely different styles that they play. This next one is a different style than what we just saw. And it's not a style that they made up, and I don't think that matters, but it's definitely, to me, having listened to a bunch of their music and seeing them perform, it sounds like them. Like I could pick them out of other bands that are doing the same thing because I know the sound. I have the imprint of their sonics and the style of their playing tattooed on my brain. I've just listened to it so much. So this one's called High Rise, and this was the very first song I ever saw and heard by them. And I just love the energy of this. It's just fun fucking music, which I love. Here's a bit of High Rise. Anyhow, one of the other things I love about them is that instrumental music is still alive and in vogue to a degree. And it's nice to see some instrumental music that, in my mind, isn't just for people who would listen to something like Frank Zappa's Black Page or stuff that's just so far out there. To me, it's instrumental music that's so much more accessible to more people. And I think that's cool. I think that's really neat.
Oh, I agree. I agree. Well, this I enjoyed more. I felt that this was sort of a compositionally arranged,
Yeah.
rehearsed performance, that that always attracts my ear better than I would say one key jams in 4/4. Recognize just my particular upbringing. I've been around for a long time, and we did this kind of music, 50 years ago, was it? How old am I? Yeah, 50 years ish.
Yeah.
And I'm not better or whatever than anybody, but what my point of listening has evolved. So what I did get from this was that it was an arrangement, and I'll tell you what actually stuck out that I really enjoyed was the snare sound. Clack. That was
Yeah, he's got such a great snare sound.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm not being a snob. People sometimes say I'm a snob. I'm not a snob. I stand for the music I love. I mean, a guy wrote the other day. Can I share a funny story?
Yeah, absolutely.
Guy writes online. He says, and this happened. He goes, you know what? A lot of people see you as a jazz snob. So I wrote him back and I said, look, if I stand for jazz because it's a music that I am involved in and support, is Geddy Lee a rock snob for supporting rock?
Right, of course not.
And I didn't get a response because in essence, the term snob is a flawed indication of an artist. I mean, was Arturo Toscanini a classical music snob, or was he an imbued classical musician dedicated to the art? There is these references that don't make sense. So my rather unimpressed feeling about the first clip, just because it didn't seem in any way interesting to my ear. The second clip was far more interesting.
Yeah, that's neat. And the funny thing you say about the whole snob thing is,
Yeah,
boy, I see this a lot, not just with that term, but the misuse and misconnotation of the language itself. It's like people are losing a grip on the English language. Like it's just so misused, and I won't even go too far into that because I don't want to offend anybody who I'm not mad at. but that's just another example. It's like the wrong word for the wrong what you're trying to be accused for.
right.
It just doesn't make sense. Are you able to talk about the status of your new album? Do you want to take a moment and talk about that?
Well, it's awfully nice of you. It's in the hands. I have new management.
Right.
My old management and I talked a great deal for a long time about, that we're going to do this and do this. We never did it. So I left. I was pretty quiet for a couple of years. So I took advantage. What is it? Make lemonade out of lemons?
Yeah.
Or as my son once said as a kid, he goes, Dad, when life gives you lemonade, drink it. And I wrote that was marvelous. So now I have new management. The record is with a company. I think I'm describing them correctly. So if they hear this, when we haven't met, these guys can tell me if I got it right. What I had heard is these were two people that made a ton of money in the business sector, private business sector, and were kind of spiritually hippies in that they love music so much. They started a record company, which a lot of people have done, but their intention is to support artists and finance and lift the art. This record will be coming out soon under their auspices, and I'm really going to be thrilled to see what happens with it. It's, I'll give a 10-second ad. It's the best bass playing I've ever done. I know we all say that. Oh, my new record. Oh, it's the best I've ever done. I feel like I'm Jackie Mason now. Oh, yes, this record. The other records wasn't so good. This record was fantastic. The other ones wasn't so good. And this record, every song I'm soloing on, and someone, a friend of mine, heard it and said, "Why all the solos?" And I answered, because on every Coltrane record, he's soloing on every tune. On every Bill Evans record, he's soloing on every tune. On every Weather Report record, on every Chick Corea record, they are soloing on every tune. So I felt a desire to raise up my solo. Remember I was telling you I was practicing for 3 years?
Yeah.
My playing has so greatly improved in the harmonic and melodic aspects that I decided to show off like a Samanegun and play on every song something unique. And I came up with a lot of new bass principles. So that's my description of the record. It's very kind of you to ask me. Thank you, Danny.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the name of the album? Have you decided?
I have, and it's a hysterical title, and it kind of goes with the philosophy. I think I'm going to wait before I share it.
Okay. Then let me ask you one more question about it. Are you going to put a live band together and do local gigs in Nashville, go to New York, maybe a tour somewhere?
I have a live band for it, and yeah, I'll do American gigs. But the interesting thing in America, for the most part, is that playing still is focused on small venues and not much money. It'll be hard. I'd go out for nothing because that's the spirit I have. I'm not in this per se for money. I want to make a living, but I'll play, in your house if there's enough people interested in listening. So to answer your question, America's a tougher nut. I'm going to Europe. They love what we do in Europe.
Yeah.
And a lot of the great musicians have gone there because we are not supported in our country by the music that was more or less invented in this country.
That's right. Isn't that ironic?
It is ironic. So to answer your question, I know great players in America. I mean, marvelous, astonishing players.
Yeah.
But people here don't want to hear it. They generally want slap or some type of things. And that's fair. That's fair. There is a market for for music which the public would like. I respect that,
Yeah.
I have to go to Europe, Asia, South America.
I was going to ask if you're going to South America.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because, Gabby, my wife, is Argentinian.
Yeah.
So we go down there whenever they have me. And I have some great friends that are playing that. In fact, I'll mention him. There's a guy, hay un hombre se llama Quintino Sinali, quien es la baterista percusionista que vive en Argentina. Y siempre, cuando estoy en Argentina, yo lo invito para tocar conmigo.
Oh, wow.
Más, I'm doing this on purpose. Y más hay una pianista se llama Mariano Agustoni, también es de Buenos Aires. Y por ese trío cubrimos todas las necesidades de tocando. Now, I essentially...
whenever you go down, you play with Gino on drums and percussion and Mariano on piano, and you play as a trio with you on bass.
You Latin. You Latino, watch out, they'll come for you today. So I've had that talk with Gabby too. I mean, she has a green card, but I said, look, we got to make some contingency plans here, man. They are not happy with non-American. They're not even happy with Americans sometimes.
Right.
I mean, this is an interesting time. So anyways, the Spanish I love Spanish. And then cuando estoy en España, toco con un pianista, se llama Jorge Vera.
What's the last name? Deras?
Vera,
Oh,
V-E-R-A, Jorge Vera. And we went like this too. So it's like Paul and Mike.
It's smart that at least you recognize and acknowledge where your market is and accommodate rather than just pushing against the grain where here it's just different,
Yeah, it's my educational views are understood, and people say, why do you push and push? And I say I do it because there's no other voice for proper educational pursuit. And if people don't want it, they don't want it. But in Europe, the message is way more acceptable. Certainly not in certain areas and certain places, but there are people in Europe that are far more understanding that music should be the core. And it's not like that in America. It's just how the country has evolved artistically and educationally. So it's okay. I mean, but I stand for something, and I stand for it so that I stand for people that don't have other people stand for them. They're selling a product. I'm selling an idea. So there you go. I've said my piece and everything is fine. back to Jackie Mason. Education is a fantastic thing. If you don't learn it, you won't play it. If you don't play it, you won't know it. If you don't know it, you got to know who Jackie Mason is.
I know Jackie was a genius. He was great.
He could talk about a fork and make a 5-minute bit.
Yeah, I think he was also the voice of the Anteater cartoons. Yeah, he was. Yeah. And some of you may even be old enough to know what the heck we're talking about. Well, thanks for joining Jeff and I, whether you watched live or on the archive, and we will be back next month with more rhythm and lows and some fun conversation about drums and bass duos and the music that they represent, the music they play, the music they come up with, and how they do it. That's what it's all about. Thanks, everybody. Hang out with me for a minute, Jeff.
I will. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.